everybody. Thank you so much for having me. I just want to say a big thank you to Ian and Bindi, the founders of MadFest. They invited me to be on the stage today, and it is a real honour to be talking at the Female Leaders Club. So, as that introduction gave, my name is Alice Deering. I'm a British Olympic marathon swimmer, and if you're thinking, what is marathon swimming, I normally get quite a few people who give me the most horrified looks when they hear that event. It is a 10-kilometre open water swim, so anything in a lake, ocean, sea, river, you know. I've been in some pretty cool places. So, and at the moment, I am currently navigating a portfolio career. I'm doing a little bit of panel speaking, a little bit of influencing with some content creation, with some brands, doing some commentary work for World Aquatics for open water as well. So, have retired from swimming. I retired in 2024, so last year, and trying to navigate life out of the water at the moment. But enough on the present, we're going back to the past of where it all began with me in swimming. I first learned to swim when I was about 4 years old, just going through learn to swim programs, and it was like half an hour once a week, which I didn't really enjoy sometimes, to be honest, didn't often want to go, but my mum was very set on me learning how to swim, and that's one thing I do want to stress today for people to take away at some point, but I'll get onto that. And I just like navigating through it. At age 8, my mum put me into the local swimming club with me and my second eldest brother. And again, I wasn't interested in this at all. I didn't want to do sports. I was very competitive at school, but didn't think that sport was going to be something for me. Anyway, we went along to this session on a Sunday afternoon, and both me and my brother fell in love with swimming. We both really took to it and got out of the water and was asking my mum, when can we next come back? And so it just kind of progressed from there. We found out quite quickly about counties, about regionals, and then nationals. This picture was taken when I was 12 or 13 years old, if you can believe that. I think I look quite a bit younger. I was always quite petite and quite young looking, but I was very fortunate to get a scholarship to the Royal Wolverhampton School, which was a private school in the West Midlands, and I was able to swim and train there. Going on from that school, I went to Loughborough University, where I studied a degree in politics and then a master's in social media and political communication. All this time, I was doing my swimming, progressing from training 7 times a week, then 8, up to 9 swims in the pool, and then 10. And the theme of this is swimming has been a massive part of my life. I've been very fortunate to take what I can from it. And whilst I never got an Olympic medal, I still think I have benefited greatly so much from swimming, and I am trying to give back to it as much as possible. So this is kind of like, these pictures are taken from the 2 highest points of my swimming career. You've got the picture of me on the right, where I became world junior champion in the 10K open water swim when I was 19 years old. And this picture of me looking absolutely terrified and probably one of the worst. I absolutely hate the way my face looks, but anyway, it was taken at the Olympic Games in Tokyo just before I got in. And as you can see, the mask indicating the time that it was happening with COVID. The water was also very, very hot. So I've got this towel wrapped around me, which is full of ice to keep myself cool before we got in, because the water was about 31 degrees, and then the air temperature 32, so elements to deal with. But anyway, what I want to stress with these 2 pictures is managing success and managing failure both take a lot of mental resilience. So off the back of becoming world junior champion, you think it would be quite easy to just roll into the next season and continue that success and, go on to bigger and better things. But after that year was actually one of the worst years of my swimming career. I really struggled, really hated the sport, and had to navigate a lot of things where I just wasn't sure about whether I wanted to do it and where my place was in it. That was back in 2016. So already I kind of had in my mind, once I'd won that medal, okay, Olympic Games, this is something that I should be aiming for, and we can go give this a good go. The year after that, in 2017, I got kicked off of funding, so I lost my money from UK Sport, and I got kicked out of the National Centre. This wasn't due to any bad behaviour, this was due to poor performance. And again, this was the point where I was at a crossroads. Should I just finish university, or should I move on with my life? Should I go get a job, or should I just try and do this again? Very happy to say, as you can probably guess, I did get in and give it another go, and that's what led me on to the Olympic Games in 2021. And this, the failure here at the Olympics, or what I deemed as a failure, I finished in 19th place. I was very unhappy with my performance, and I got out of the water crying. I cried on my post-race interview, and I said that I was trying to go to Paris after that. But initially, when I got into the water in Tokyo, I was kind of like, oh, I don't think I really want to continue doing this anymore. So the aftermath of that failure did drive me on to want to continue swimming and keep sharing my story, keep going with it. And it's something that I have struggled with a little bit, because I didn't qualify for the Paris Games. So my whole point of continuing swimming after Tokyo was, I want another chance at an Olympics. I want another opportunity to get into an Olympic arena and try and improve my results. Didn't happen for me, but I'm still very proud to say I did become an Olympian, and with that, I was the first black woman to swim for Great Britain at Olympic Games. Oh, thank you. Thanks. Thanks. And moving on to the reason that my race matters with my sport. Truthfully, I wish it didn't matter. I wish I didn't have to have these conversations. They're very difficult and heavy conversations to have, as you can imagine, talking about racism, about stereotypes, about the issues I've personally faced in swimming. But they are very important to have, because this is a sport which, unfortunately, if you don't know how to do it, you are at a risk of drowning or of losing your life. And I'm sorry, that's very morbid, but it's a cold, hard fact. And I've been trying so hard to get more and more people into this, not into the sport necessarily, but just learning how to swim, knowing how to basic survival skills in water. So this picture is taken from a swimming initiative which I launched last year in Ghana. We went to a school in Accra, paid for 20 people to learn how to swim over 10 weeks, and this was them on the first session, and it really fills my heart with so much happiness, because they were genuinely so happy to get that opportunity, and I felt very honoured that I was able to help contribute to their journey in swimming. But anyway, on to the stereotypes in swimming that I wasn't very aware of, to be honest. So context for my life, I'm a black mixed race woman. My mum is from Ghana. My dad is from north of England in Hull. And I was always fortunate that my mum knew how to swim. And ironically, my dad didn't. So I kind of had this, the flip of the stereotype. But anyway, my mum would swim in the sea, and it would just be a huge part of her life. As I was going through swimming, I started to hear these whispers of black people don't swim, that they can't float, that they aren't good in water. And I remember laughing about it with my mum. I remember being like, this is ludicrous. Like, I know a lot of good black swimmers. I know there aren't a lot of black and Asian people in swimming, but everything that I've seen, I think they're all really good swimmers. And, you know, I kept going through the sport. I got to age 17, where I had kind of my first and only real instance of racism in the sport, which I'm happy to say that I only had to deal with it once, but I'm also sad to say that I had to deal with it in the first place. A coach referred to me as a skinny N-word, and he said this to another swimmer. The swimmer came and told me, and because it was one person's word against the other, it was kind of just left as it was, because I didn't want to take it to the police. I didn't want anything to do with the incident, to be honest. I was 17 years old. I didn't feel like I should have to be dealing with being called such words and having to give a police statement. Like, let me just get on with my life, please. So just kind of stressing on the point that there have been issues within swimming, both historically and presently, which there are a number of people who are trying to combat the idea that black people can't swim in the first place, that our bones are too dense. We're trying to tell people in our communities that they are capable of learning to swim, regardless of what they've been told in the past, and regardless of all of these issues which have been placed upon them. And this leads me to co-founding the Black Swimming Association. I co-founded the BSA with these 3 other amazing people. We've got Ed Akura, who the man on the, sorry, I'm really bad, on the left. Yeah, the man on the left. Sorry, I'm bad with my left and right. The man on the left, who has made numerous films about black people in swimming. I really, really encourage you to check them out. They are called, a film called Blacks Can't Swim. And it's just please do check them out if you want to educate yourself in any way more on this issue. It's a great place to start. I've got myself, and then next to me is Danielle Obe. She is kind of like, she's our leader. She's really made the BSA what it is. And then next to her is Seren Jones, who was a BBC journalist. And we were all kind of doing our own things. We were all trying to navigate, trying to speak about what was happening with black people in swimming and coming at it from very different angles. Ed, for example, when we first found the BSA, was literally learning to swim at the time because he wanted to be able to save his daughter if she ever fell into water. So we're all coming at it from different angles, and we came together, and it's a really, really special place that we've been able to create for people in our communities, but I'm also really happy to say it's spreading to white people, to Asian people, to Latina people, anybody who hasn't had that opportunity to learn to swim, who hasn't been given what I've been so fortunate to have from my life. So our flagship program is called Together We Can, and it's a 5-week program which takes part in various boroughs in London at the moment, as well as South Wales. And it's not about getting people to learn to swim. It's about getting them in water and knowing what that feels like. Because in some instances, these people might not have ever been in a swimming pool before, or maybe even a bath. So getting them in water, teaching them how to float, knowing what that sensation feels like, and taking them to a place where they are able to learn to swim, where they feel confident and ready to want to learn to swim. We've taken over 500 people through this program. The BSA is only five years old, so already impacting so many lives, and it's ending up in a really beautiful place where some of the people from the program end up becoming swimming teachers on the program, ready to give back again. So I'm really, really proud and passionate about the work that we've been able to achieve, and everything that we have coming forward in the next coming years. Okay, and then the kind of final bit I just want to talk about real quick is how I got to tell my story. So I don't know if anybody can remember this magazine called Galdem. It was an absolutely fantastic magazine. They were commissioning pieces back in 2019, and I was looking for money at university, to be honest. I knew I wanted to tell my story in some way, and I wanted it to be through my voice first before going to a journalist. So I went to Galdem, wrote this piece, and they published it. And it got quite a lot of attention in a really, really positive and good way. I had so many people ready to uplift me. My agent currently at the time actually saw that piece, and that's how I ended up signing on to his agency. And it gave me a platform to be able to speak and tell my story in my most authentic way, which I'm really grateful for. Moving forward, it ended up blossoming into something I never expected. I signed contracts with Nike. I've done work with PlayStation, Cineworld. I'm going to be forgetting so many different things, but so many incredible, amazing brands who saw my story and could see how that resonated with them and with themselves and wanted to make that connection. I think like a career highlight was getting to be in Vogue. Might not happen again, but I'm really, really happy that it happened. And this was me quite recently getting an award at the Ethnic Diversity Awards for Sports Personality of the Year. So my point is that I have been really fortunate, regardless of where I got to in swimming, that my story was still able to resonate with so many people, with so many brands, and I was able to tell it in a way that felt true to myself. And I think regardless of the fact that I never became like Olympic champion, I still think there are so many ways in which you personally, regardless of where you get to in your career or your industry, can help shape and change the area that you're in. And then just moving on finally to the lessons that I've learned, navigating swimming, commercial deals, and like who I am as a person. finding your niche needs to really actually mean something to you. So I was very fortunate that my niche, in a way, was just like, it's who I am. I'm a black woman. I swam. It made sense for me to have these conversations and advocate for these issues. But there are so many other things that I'm really passionate about that I haven't even touched on. For example, I absolutely love video games, and that's kind of the link to PlayStation. And I'm currently on the advisory board for the British Esports Association. So there's so many things that I've just kind of spoken about in interviews, and people have been like, oh, wow, that's really interesting. Why don't we follow on from that? Timing is key, and this is quite a little bit, yeah, I'm going to go for it. So I was very fortunate that when I was telling my story, it was kind of in the wake of Black Lives Matter, as in I was telling my story in 2019, Black Lives Matter comes through in 2020, and there's obviously this whole new awakening again. I will say, if I was telling my story now, I don't think it would be as easy to have the commercial success that I did have. So I'm very grateful and fortunate that it happened when it happened, but also I've been able to get that steam behind me and keep this force going, both with my personal causes and the Black Swimming Association. Thirdly, surround yourself with people who are going to support you and understand what you want to do. This goes for your personal life, but also for the industry as well, because there are so many different ways in swimming where people were supporting me, where people were really, really uplifting me. And there were many times when there weren't people doing that, people doing the opposite as well. So having to drop those people and forget about it was quite difficult, but when you do find those people, make sure you hold on to them tight. And finally, as I mentioned before, there are so many different ways you can impact your industry. And I really want to encourage all of you in the room to, as I think MadFest is in its context, be creative, look at different ways, look at different angles. Everybody might be doing X, but why can't you do Y? Why can't you try and make change in the ways that feel authentic to yourself? So yeah, thank you. Thanks.
Huge well done. And I know I was speaking to Alice just before she came on, and it said almost the hardest thing to do is to share your personal story. So it's really brave of you to do that. There is one question. What's the one thing that you miss most about swimming? And then what's the one value or skill that you've absolutely taken forward?
Gosh, okay. The one thing I miss about swimming mostly is the structure it gave to my day. So now that I've stopped swimming and I'm, like, as I said, doing a portfolio career, so it's a bit here, there, and everywhere, I really miss kind of being like, you wake up, you're told what to do, I go to sleep, and then I'm told what to do again in the evening. So that was the most jarring thing for me, actually, coming out of swimming, was not having someone telling me, you need to go swim this far every day, and having my day planned out for me. So I'm navigating that. And sorry, what was the second question?
The second one was then the value skill that you took forward.
Yes, a value and skill that I took forward, I think, has to be resilience. There are so many times that I failed, so many times that I had a terrible training session, and so many times that I felt like I wasn't worthy or good enough to be a good swimmer or to get to the Olympic Games. So I think just having that resilience and knowing that you can bounce back, that you can achieve things, and if you really want to work hard and stick with it, then go for it and commit to it.
I think that's been amazing, and I think swimming's loss is our gain. Alice, Deering, everybody, thank you very, very much. It's been amazing.